positioning Ghana as an agribusiness investment hub beyond subsistence agriculture. Now, we often look to West Africa as the hub for sustainable commercial farming, optimizing the value chain beyond subsistence agriculture and remaining paramount, So ultimately, what we're trying to do is get people together to understand there is so much value in agribusiness. It is a labor creator. Full stop. Agribusiness is a labor creator. Tying that with manufacturing, it's a beautiful, beautiful line. So to guide us on this panel, you've seen her a lot today. She's been working very, very, very hard. I'll tell you that for free. She's Executive Director of the UKGCC, Adjoba, Kyiamah. She's going to be our moderator. And I'll also introduce our panelists. We have Deputy CEO of Cocoa Board Ghana, Ato Boateng, Dan Acquaye, thank you so much. Dan Acquaye, CEO of Agri Impact. We have the Honourable Andrews Osei Okrah, CEO of Ghana Tree Corp Development Authority. Nana Opoku Ware Ofori Ajiman Prempe, CEO of Grow For Me, serious name. And Manoj Vashista, CEO of OLAMFood Ingredients. Please welcome my esteemed panel to the stage.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. I promise you, this is the last time you're seeing me on the stage today. Yes. Obviously, I've been here already, so I'm standing on existing protocols. This is actually my panel, the first one I was covering for Stephen Gray. So, yeah. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm the lone lady, but yes, I'm used to it. I'm used to being amongst the only lady amongst men. So many things have been said this morning, both by the Honourable Minister of Trade and Mr. Tano from the 24-Hour Economy Secretariat about Grow For Me and the new focus of the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. They're taking a decisive reset to ensure that there are reforms that happen in the agribusiness sector. They want to cut costs, attract investments, and drive industrialization so that we are processing the food or the agricultural products that we grow. So this is a very timely conversation, and it's anchored on the National Agribusiness Policy built around value addition, which we've just spoken about, supply chain resilience, and export competitiveness. I will start by asking each of you to introduce yourselves and talk a little about the work that you do, just so that when I ask the questions later, people in the audience are clear where your answers are going to be situated in. So I will start from my friend, Honourable Andy Osei Okrah, on my extreme left, and then continue from there to my right.
Thank you very much, and all protocol observed. Madam, as you rightly said, my name is Andy Osei Okrah. Currently, I happen to be the Chief Executive for Ghana Tree Crop Development Authority, courtesy His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, since last year, 17 February 2025, that I occupy that seat. In terms of background, I have forestry and an agroforestry background, and also a human resource management aspect. And I happen to do a lot of youth development and leadership things. So briefly, that is, I also happen to be former Deputy Ashanti Regional Minister under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama first term. Thank you.
Okay, that's wonderful. So I'll be targeting the questions around policy towards you. Just to be clear. Okay. Over to you.
Thank you very much. My name is Dan Acquaye. I'm an agribusiness development expert. I have over 3 decades experience in the industry spanning over 30 African countries and the Caribbean. My company's name is Agri Impact, and I'm the founder and the group CEO. We provide agribusiness management services, and project management, and financial facilitation. And we've done that for a number of national and multinational organizations. We've run consultancy services for almost every international organization in the world, from the World Bank, Africa Development Bank, IFAD, FAO, MasterCard Foundation. We work with over 15 international universities globally, and we are also the lead implementers of the major agricultural projects supported by the MasterCard Foundation in Ghana. We're running a number of programs, but I'm sure we will come to the programs that we are running later on, which serve as the model for some of the things that we've been talking about. We also run the largest greenhouse business in West Africa, and we've had a lot of people asking us about greenhouse production, and we'll also spend some time on greenhouse opportunities for Ghana. We are also in the digital space. Our focus is unlocking job opportunities for young people. We are in the agri-digital space, and so far we have introduced new programs with KNUST, including drone services. Yes. So that is brief about Dan Acquaye.
Thank you, Dan. Over to you.
So I'm Boateng, Deputy CEO of Ghana Cocoa Board. I'm part of a team that is turning around the cocoa industry and then evolving it into a more transformed sector, pillared on value addition, and then more participation for local players. I'll be short because I think that I want to start. Yes.
Thank you very much, Ato. I think there was a lot of conversations around cocoa yesterday.
Yep.
So it's very good that you're on the panel today. Manoj, over to you.
Yeah, hi. My name is Manoj Vashista. I represent OLAMFood ingredients. So first, a couple of sentences about myself, because I want to compete with my friend here.
Go ahead.
So, I am in cocoa sector for last 25 years, and I have lived in Africa for 10 years between Nigeria and Ivory Coast, all in cocoa. And now I'm the CEO of the cocoa division, and I'm very happy to be here. And about OLAMFood ingredient, actually people who are in cocoa and cashew in this room, and two of our biggest stakeholders sitting on this table, so they would know us very well. We are one of the largest traders and integrated players in cocoa industry. We are the largest cashew and nut exporters, processors globally. We are one of the most dominant players in spices. We are, integrated into dairy operations, and so that's what our story is. And especially in Ghana, just, madam, 2 sentences. Ghana, you have to sell the Ghana stories to others, but we have already sold on the story because we are there for last 32 years. We are the largest LBC. We are the only company having a processing plant in Ashanti region. We deal with 100,000 farmers. We are the largest exporters of cashews, and we are very, very integrated with 100,000 farmers engagement and one of the largest sort of sustainability program we run in. So we are very happy to be here.
Thank you, Manoj. Last but not the least, Kwame.
Thank you. Very nice to be here. I started all protocols. My name is Kwame Bekoe, and I'm co-founder of Grow For Me, together with my CEO, Nana, who's based in Ghana, and CEO of AfriSaf as well. Grow For Me is actually the first SEC-registered crowdfunding platform in Ghana. We launched actually in 2018 when the 4 co-founders did a bicycle ride from Accra to Lagos. It took us 7 days, and we learned everything about the grassroots, the people, the opportunity in Ghana when it comes to agribusiness. Today we have 30,000 smallholder farmers on our platform, and we work with about 3,000 retail investors, many of whom are in the diaspora, and we are growing 30% per year. We have a recent partnership with MTN, so allowing people to digitally invest in farming through their mobile MTN wallets. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right. So let's dive into the conversation. And I think that it's important that we start with the policy landscape. So I will start with Honorable Angie.
Thank you.
What policy and regulatory interventions are being introduced to unlock investments across Ghana's tree crop value chains? And how can these support industrial scale processing?
Thank you very much, Madam. And I think this was even clear. And thanks to Honorable Minister for Trade, Agribusiness, and Industry, where he talked about the things that government is doing, several of them.
Yeah, and please also feel free to talk about the areas of the biggest opportunities for the people in the room.
All right. So yes, just to give you a bit of background, you know, Ghana's strategic push to diversify on cocoa, where it led us to several of our commercial trees that we did not have regulations and production for that. And because of that, government designed a lot of policies and regulations and institutional arrangements to get other commercial trees also considered. And this led to the establishment of the Tree Crop Development Authority. And by an Act of Parliament, Act 1010 of 2019, the Tree Crop Development Authority was established to regulate 6 selected tree crops, for that matter, 6 selected economic trees, in addition to what we have on cocoa for diversification. So we have cashew, coconut, oil palm, rubber, mango, and shea. I repeat, cashew, coconut, oil palm, rubber, mango, and shea. I've given a short acronym as CCOMS. So if you look through the brochure, you find a page of the tree crops as CCOMS, which happens to be the 6 selected crops. And in addition to that, government also led its operationalization by establishing LI 2471, that operationalizing this act to ensure that we are able to implement the act. In that case, several interventions through that came in. Number one, to be able, we needed a single regulator to be able to do that. Hitherto, we didn't have that. So these 6 crops have a regulator to regulate and develop that sector. So that is number one. Then the regulator, one of the policies in the regulation to ensure that we provide and become one strategic one-stop shop where investors can get whatever is needed in terms of these 6 crops so that we can reduce their transactional costs, ensure that their regulatory certainty is assured, and make sure that whatever they need to do as far as these 6 crops are concerned in Ghana is well taken. And it's in the act and the regulation. So one of the key things to make sure that the industry is regulated. In that case, now we need to enforce what the law says and what the LI says, so that if you are coming in, you know that you are coming to an improved area where you need to be a licensed and a registered actor before you can operate. So it's very clear. That is stated there. In terms of making sure that local processes are also taken care of, the law also states clearly that making sure Regulation 50, you make sure that you set up a percentage, making sure that raw materials are also available for that. And that dovetailed into His Excellency the President, Feed the Ghana Industry Program, and then in addition to the 24-hour economy. So these are all interventions backed by law, and TCDA, for that matter, the tree crop is responsible for that. Again, these crops, making sure the minimum pricing mechanism at the farm gate that we don't cheat the producers are set is also by law, set it clearly. The market intervention, its development clearly stated. And then standards, enforcement of standards and the quality are very key. And these are all by law. So opportunities are there when you come to an environment where these things are all clear. Now, regarding what you say, collectively, these things that we put together, now these days we cannot. The president has said that we are now moving away from raw materials and making sure value addition. And that is, again, in line with the Act and the LI, which was stated clearly. As far as this, I am concentrating myself on the 6 crops here are concerned, and these are all the actions that we are making. So if you want to play any role in this sector, you have a very clear role that you need to play. Then we have a tree crop development fund that establishes to increase research, innovation into these areas. And that is another area we focus on that we are focusing.
Is that administered by your authority?
Yes. So
Okay.
we have a fund. So the Act says that we should set that the Tree-Crop Development Fund to go into export, and go into production, and to go into research and innovation. All these things are interventions and regulatory things that now, for traceability, which is key now, we cannot transport any of these crops from the village to any part of the country without being traced. So we have put in a conveyance certificate system in line with our digital traceability system, ensuring that, yes, you are getting it from the right source, making sure international standard, EU, DR stuff, and so many environmental and social protection things are all taken care of. This is one of the interventions by government and by TCDA. Now, to probably help you with the biggest opportunities there, so that you know that's why we are here.
Yes.
The biggest opportunities, to me, when you take my crops, number one, I will start with cashew. There are a lot of opportunities in the cashew value chain, where from processing, because we are moving away from the raw material to the processing value addition. So that area is huge. We have a whole cashew apple that we throw away, about 70% we throw away, that we need investors to come in that can create a lot of jobs and stuff like that. Processing is key. Currently, the processing capacity is about 65,000 metric tons. Only 27,000 metric tons are produced locally. We intend pushing it to 75,000 metric tons. So we need more processing, value addition and stuff. Another biggest area is the oil palm. The oil palm is also another area. Even His Excellency himself wants to add 100,000 hectares additional new plantation to existing one, and then putting in $500 million US in that, where we want to make sure, like I think my boss Gusi mentioned it, not just the CPO, but we want to make sure we add on and go to refunding. The third, which I might say probably, is the rubber sector. Now, Galamsey is very key in our area, and we believe that we can use the rubber, plant more to restore our forest and stuff like these are all, and then share. Madam, if I'm to tell you a lot, all these 6 crops, the biggest, I cannot even pick one, that this is one opportunity. All the 6 crops have the biggest opportunities as far as the processing and machinery and all manufacturing are concerned. So probably I'll end here if you have any further.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We need to also speak to the practitioners, what their experience has been, you know. So maybe I'll go to you next, Dan.
Yes.
You sound like you have a long, rich experience of working in this space. In your experience, what are some of the practical models that can help accelerate commercial farming and help the Honorable Minister achieve her vision for her tenure?
Thank you. Let me first state that a lot of people say agriculture and agribusiness is risky. And I also tell them that is why we exist. There's no industry that doesn't have risk. And I ask a basic question. If you put a seed of maize into a soil and you want to fly from London to Accra, which one is more risky? Of course, flying is more risky, but we fly every day and every night. So we cannot describe agriculture as a risky business, and therefore we don't need to venture. Otherwise, we'll all go hungry. So that is the first thing. So yes, agric is risky, but people have made it. What worked, what didn't work.
Yes.
Now, if you take the landscape of Ghana agribusiness sector, we can pick certain commodities as example. Let's pick rice. We are less than 50% self-sufficiency. A crop that doesn't take more than 4 months to mature. So why are we importing over $500 million worth of rice when we have all the resources that can help us? And it is all because we think that rice production is risky. So let's demystify it and let us see what is innate there that bring businesses and what model can be used. Under the MasterCard Foundation program, there were a number of rice commercial farmers who were confined to certain areas. And the government had introduced an enclave production, and I will use one example in Kasunya. And one of the commercial farmers had 650 outgrowers in that enclave. With the support of what we call ecosystem facilitation, where you have people who are connecting market, connecting finance, connecting technology, doing capacity building, and facilitating the industry or that particular value chain. In a space of 2.5 years, this same person has increased his outgrowers from 650 to 30,000.
Wow.
In 2.5 years.
That's very impressive.
And that has created a lot of rice production in Ghana. And Honorable is here, and she can attest to that fact. Let us come to poultry.
Yes.
We produce about 10% of what we consume, shamefully. And if you want to go into broiler production in Ghana, it takes 6 weeks. 6 weeks, the birds are ready for table. Yet we import 90% of what we consume and spend hundreds of millions of dollars for import. There was a company that had invested $3 million in processing, and it had been defunct for 3 years. We came in, thieves have started stealing their pumping machines. We came in and said, no, we can do it. We can turn things around. So how do we do it? We look at his value chain, supply chain activities, and we started connecting the dots. And with some catalytic funding and the same ecosystem facilitation, in less than a year, the company that was defunct was supplying between 150 and 200,000 birds per month to KFC.
Oh, that's impressive.
So for us, we can talk about the risk.
Yes.
And that's the reason why we are here. That's why we continue to innovate. If there's no risk, we cannot innovate.
Of course not. You must
So I've given you rice. Then let's come to chicken. Then let's come to the almighty tomato production, where we are also about 50% or 60% self-sufficient. A crop that also takes 3 months to mature. Why are we spending $400 and $500 million to import tomato? And why do we see it as a huge problem that cannot be surmounted? With some support from Ghana Exim Bank, we started greenhouse production. It has taken us 3 years to know and understand how best to grow vegetables in greenhouse. The last time we went to our board, 2 years ago, we're asking the board to invest $30,000. First time, that's 2 years ago.
Yes.
The last time we went to a board, we are taking $25 million facility to expand our greenhouse program.
Wow.
So in 2 years, from 30,000 to 25 million.
And you're selling all of that tomatoes in Ghana?
In fact, the $25 million investment will not even satisfy more than 3% of the Ghanaian markets.
So there's room?
There is room. I mean, you can invest $300, $500 million, and you will just do about 20-30% of the market gap. I went to Spain. There's a place called Almeria. It was a desert, like rocky areas. They were using the place for movie. As I speak today, that place has been turned into a hub for vegetable production. And they are exporting about $6 billion worth of vegetables every year. And domestic market is over $5 billion. And that
so how do they do it?
No, it's greenhouse and net house production. And this is not, it's not technology that comes from the sky. But it is because we like talking about the problem and not providing the solution. So everyone speaks about, oh, it's risky, oh, it's difficult. And please, Agric is not treasury bill, where you put in your money and then you go and sleep, and then in 3 months you look at your phone and see whether the interest on your investment has been posted. Please, no, that is not Agric, that is not agribusiness. Agribusiness is for people who have the tenacity and the patience to wait and go through the system. But once you are able to go through it, there's no way you will not make it.
It's good to know.
We started 3 years ago. My staff were around 30. Now we are over 200.
Oh, wow.
Because we have gone through the process, we understand it, and we know how to make things work better.
Wonderful. This is an amazing testimony. I'm sure people will want to talk to you some more after this panel discussion. Unfortunately, I won't be able to take questions because, I have 5 speakers, and each one of them has to speak before we leave the speech. So my next question, after that wonderful testimony from Dan, is to Manoj, another practitioner. You have you said 25 years?
Yes.
Experience. So we would like to know from your industry perspective, what conditions are most critical for scaling agro-processing in Ghana, particularly around raw material supply, infrastructure development, and investor confidence? Because from your accent, you're obviously not originally a Ghanaian.
Yeah.
So tell us.
And I think, first of all, you actually mentioned 3 points, which are very, very essential. I think I was really impressed by honorable, presidential consultant, because he mentioned all these points. First of all, supply security, especially with what's happening globally. I think supply chains are becoming longer, and the consumer wants security of supply chain, not for today, tomorrow, but next 5, 10, 15 years. And in that, you need to worry about the climate change, you need to worry about the disease, you need to, it's not artificial intelligence technology business, it is brick and mortar business with the next 5, 10, 15 years of security of supply. So that is very important, especially from our sphere. Second is the infrastructure. And infrastructure covers a whole lot of things. It is not only what happens within the Tema factory or what happens in our Kumasi factory. It is not only that, right? It is end-to-end supply chain from farmer, it is the port, it is the energy, it is the cost of energy, it is the consistency of energy, it is the mix of energy, then the freights, and to the consumer. Unfortunately, in our kind of business, we don't have a market in Africa, right? We just produce, whether you export cocoa beans or you make butter liquor powder or you make chocolate, you still have to export. So this means end-to-end cost from farmer to the consumer is the second most important thing. Third is the investor confidence. Investor confidence is dependent upon regulatory choices which we have there. We have the treatment that you would be treated fairly.
Yes.
Then the fiscal policies, which are very, very important, which we have discussed and heard in last 1 or 2 days. Stable currency. You don't want to lose 20% of your investment just in the depreciation. But if you combine everything together, either you can be like Apple, right? You have really differentiated player, because margin is not in commodity, margin is not even in the processing. Biggest chunk of margin remains with the brand or the retail, but we are only talking about raw material versus the processing. So if you have to deal with that space, then you have to deal with end-to-end cost.
Yes.
That is the only long-term differentiated we can have. For example, any capacity without utilization is a liability.
Yes.
Whether it is, we have the examples in many parts of the world where you have huge capacities, but they are not utilized. So this means the idea is not putting more factories. I understand, from the politics point of view, everybody think more factories, more number of people get employed.
No, it's more factories doing different things.
No, I'm saying like in one sector. For example, the capital is competing everywhere, right? Say cocoa, just as an example. You don't want 10 factories and you think 100 people employed into 10 would be 1,000.
No.
But if after 3 years none of them are running, then you don't have even one guy, right? So that's where the optimal size economy of scale, and the way you can get confidence to the consumer. And last thing, the ecosystem.
Yes.
One country, one government, one private sector can't do alone. If there's an ecosystem end to end, for example, private sector can bring capital and expertise. Then in the supply chain, you can have the, say in cocoa, you have chocolate industries also involved along with the processor and the regulator. Then you have the carbon story. You have the EUDR, which our friend said, right? So you, within this processing, and if you can make a unique brand of, say, Ghana, Ghana, you don't have a challenge of talent. You have a huge talent, right? So if, I think government policy looks quite friendly. But if you can build on all the ecosystem, which we have heard in last few days, which we are really encouraged, I think that is one way to go about it, and, you know.
So the future is certainly bright for agribusiness sector. Kwame, you play in the digital space and speak certainly to the youth. And so I would like you to talk about how digital platforms and agricultural technology solutions can help connect farmers to finance, inputs, markets, whilst also improving traceability and productivity.
Sure, thank you. So I think one of the things we realized very early on is that there's a large demand and interest for people, particularly in the diaspora, to invest in agriculture and to get into agriculture. But we realized that it was very difficult for them to actually do this. So what we did is we built this digital platform that enables satellite-based monitoring, traceability, and a number of different features to basically link the crowdfunder or the investor to the actual project. So we vet these projects. We work with the smallholder farmer. We give them the tools they need. We give them the finance they need for the right seedings, for the fertilizer, and everything that's required to bring about a successful project. And that's one of the things we've been doing consistently over the past 5 years, to build it from a scale as to where we started from, which was an investment of around $15,000, to today having traded over $5 million and doing over $2 million every year with smallholder farmers in Ghana. And I think that the success of this has been based on the fact that we're building credibility, we're building trust amongst our investors, so we're attracting more investment in this space. And actually, the next phase of our growth actually is in value addition. So what many people don't see is that there's a strong link between the energy market and agribusiness. In fact, many farmers in US, in Europe, make about 50% of their revenue from energy, be it from solar, but more and more it's from biofuel production. And the production of biofuel is actually coming from the residue of the agriculture as opposed to the commodity itself. So for example, with a product like cashew nut, I'm very happy you mentioned the apple. This produces an ethanol product that can be used for sustainable vehicles or sustainable aviation fuel. You can produce biomethanol. You can produce CNG. There's so many different products you can produce that can decarbonize value chains. So what we're looking to do now is to take the residue, of which Ghana produces almost 50 million tons every year, which is often burnt, is discarded, is left to decay on fields. Cocoa pod is a great example. At the moment, we are working with Boeing, the Boeing company, who have confirmed in a study that you can convert the waste from cocoa production into sustainable aviation fuel. So there's so many different ways you can add value to what we're already doing, and that really is the next phase of our growth.
That's wonderful to know. So I know we were wondering when I would get to you. So cocoa, it's been very topical for these past 2 days.
Right.
How can Ghana's cocoa sector move further up the value chain, and what opportunities exist for UK investors in processing, financing, and export-oriented partnerships?
Okay, so if you look at the processing capacity of cocoa in Ghana today, it's 520,000 tons, which is approximately about 70% of our production, the bean production. And if you look at the companies that are playing in the processing space, you don't have, if you take out Olam, you don't have any other UK company that is playing in that space. But then if you look at the factors of production, you have land, labor, capital, you also have entrepreneurship. And if you look at the four, UK has comparative advantage in entrepreneurship, in capital, technology.
Right.
So we expect that that partnership should come to bear for UK to take full advantage of the fact that there's still some processing capacity that needs to be done. Because we are not processing everything, there is room for tolling arrangements.
Right.
Once we decouple the bean purchases from the financing, then we can expect that our folks here in UK can get into some bean purchases and do some tolling. And then on the basis of that, we can support them with the financing, because Cocoa Board is going to be doing the financing by itself through a local bond issuance that we expect to.
That was spoken about yesterday.
Exactly,
yes.
So these are the opportunities that are available to our UK investors.
That's wonderful. I would like to go around for your final words, and I would like each of you to perhaps talk about how Ghana can leverage duty-free, quota-free access under the UK-Ghana Trade Partnership Agreement, for example, that if you invest in agri-processing, you can export to the UK under that TPA, as well as also after. So from the roles that you play in your organizations, let me start from Andy.
Thank you very much. As is very clear, we work together with the Ghana Investment Promotion Center and GIPA. All the things that promotion things that they are talking about, it goes in favor of the tree crop sector.
Yes.
And whatever it is, as we have indicated, the market down there is good, Africa market and UK one, as we indicated.
Yes.
So we are saying that the greatest opportunity still lies with cashew, oil palm, shea, and rubber, or is due to its large production base, and at the same time, the export growth. We think that if we are able to invest in these areas, then all the benefits that has been ascribed yesterday by GIPC, you have access to all of them, and then we can enjoy them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will want us to widen the scope of investment. Most of the time, it focuses on products or commodities.
Yes.
I want us to look at technologies and services. And these are things that don't also require a lot of rigidity in terms of moving one product to the other. Yes. So as long as we can look at technologies, machinery, and then services, they are huge. Okay. And they will cut across different commodity lines and value chains.
That's true.
Right.
Thanks for drawing.
All right. So today, Ghana benefits only about $4 billion of the entire cocoa value chain. Now, I think that for us to proceed or evolve and looking at close to about maybe 10 billion, we need to look at the value addition. And in the value addition, the key thing is the market access. And because the market is bilateral between companies, it's very difficult to break into. So for me, one critical thing is for us to be able to set up the futures markets.
Right.
For the derivative products, the liquor, the butter, the paste, which will then open up the space for Ghana to be able to have access to the global market on these derivative products, which will then shoot the value that we are getting from cocoa from 3-4 billion to about 10 to 15 billion. So that's where the focus should be.
Opportunity. Yes. Wonderful. Manoj?
I think I will also echo with some of my friends I mentioned here. I think apart from the products and all, there's a lot is happening in UK space in terms of technology, artificial intelligence, and anyway, it's the financial hub of the world as well. So I think whatever the innovations are happening, if they can help the partners in Ghana to be more efficient, to be, help in renewables, help in energy, at the end of the day, whatever can help to bring down the financing cost can make us more efficient in Ghana. I think it can help us succeeding in Ghana to serve not only the UK market, but look at the global markets. So I think that could be...
Thank you, Manoj. It's just as well you were sitting next to Kwame. So.
Yeah, so we continue to make it easier for people to invest in agriculture, of course, the mobile wallets and other means, but also we're leveraging modern technology. So, for example, AI, building our own agents, geospatial tools, to really bring about the traceability, the certification of these products, because once a product is certified, the value of it really goes up on the international market, and you gain a lot more for that value. And then, of course, as I mentioned, looking at energy, clean energy opportunities, even from the cashew nut, you've got an oil from the shell. Many of these crops, you only use about 30% of the commodity, and the 70% is wasted. So we're looking at what we can do with that 70% to add more value to the bottom line and to the farmer.
Thank you. So what's evident is that each of these 5 gentlemen is very knowledgeable and experienced in their various sectors that they play in the agribusiness world. Please feel free to approach them. We are just ending the conversation and further the conversation and make sure that we get some business deals out of this panel discussion. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Photos.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What an interesting panel. And it's amazing to see all the work from policy to farmer that needs to be done, but also is being done. I know you are tired. I know you are thirsty. We're going to have a 10-minute coffee break. But when I mean 10 minutes, I mean 10 minutes. I will come and find you. Don't be scared, but I'll come and find you to rally you back into the room. The reason why is because we've still got a lot to get through today, and we've got a very hard stop, and the president needs to be in the room as well. So I want to make sure that all of that runs to time. So we're going to have to make a very productive session after the coffee break. Please come back at 12:49. 12:49, go and get your coffees and come back, and we'll acknowledge all the dignitaries in the room when we're back. Thank you so much.